Hello and welcome. Today we have two camshafts here. Notice one has this component and this one doesn't have. So this is for the inlet and this is for the exhaust line. Now, what is the function of a camshaft? A camshaft's function is to convert rotary motion into reciprocal motion in an engine. Now, how is it designed? Well, it is designed in such a way that it should work well for its operation. For instance, you see it has this modification here with this design over here. This is called the cam lobes. Now these cam lobes, what happens, the design of it like this is that when the engine turns, it will turn over this way, and as the lobe reaches the lifters, it will press down the lifters. Now by pressing them down like this, it presses and it opens. Now upon opening the valves, air is induced in the system. Now the operation continues like that, and then the cycle again begins afresh. Now this bit over here is called the actuator. Now what happens, pressure from the engine comes through this hole. Now as it comes through this hole, it helps the actuator in either retarding or advancing the timing of the engine depending on the load of the engine. Now how is that achieved? Well, on the other part, the other part of the cylinder head, there's an actuator valve over here. Now this actuator valve controls the amount of fluid or amount of oil, so that it can either advance it or retard it according to the engine and the load needs. Again, you can have a look at it keenly. You will notice that there are four of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs. Now these 4 pairs means that this is a 4-cylinder engine. Now what is the firing order of a 4-cylinder engine? 1, 3, 4, 2. Now what does 1, 3, 4, 2 mean? It means that when the first piston or the first cylinder head is closed like this, let's say for instance it's closed, and you have the compression stroke at this point. Remember, when the lobes are facing up, it means the valves are closed, and it means that the air inside the combustion chamber is compressed, ready for the spark. Now let's say we are at this point. It means when we turn it on this end, now notice what happens at the third cylinder. Now let's turn it. As we approach the point at which we want to press our lifters, notice what happens at the third cylinder. It's up, means that this particular cylinder over here is the valves are already closed and the stroke is ready to be ignited. Again, if you turn it, let's say we are turning it again. Now notice what happens at valve. The valves at number 4, the cylinder number 4, the lobes are facing up, closing the valves at that particular cylinder. Now take a keen look again at what happens at the second cylinder. You see, we want to turn this, then see what happens at number 2. At that point, you see our cam lobes are up, meaning that the valves in this particular cylinder are closed and compressed, ready for spark. So that's how it works. 1, 3, 4, 2, the firing order, how the sparks are being ignited to that particular cylinder. This is on the exhaust part. Well, the chain drives all this, and depending on the position of these cam lobes, that will be determined by the ECU. That's all for today. Thank you.